Joel, there are over 3 million truck drivers in the United States alone, and that number is about to get smaller and smaller. There is technology coming out that is bringing the reality of automated trucking to the forefront. And this has been happening since 7 years ago. They started they started implementing this technology to now where things are actually getting serious. If you're a truck driver and you value and love your career, this is super big, super important, so you're going to want to pay attention.
So this is where self-driving trucks were back when it was Uber 7 years ago.
No, this isn't a runaway truck, and no, it's not an outtake from the action movie Speed. This is a conventional 18-wheeler that drives itself, thanks to a $30,000 retrofit. The human drove the truck onto the highway, flipped on self-driving mode, and spent the next 2 hours.
So there's one of the limits for this specific technology. He had to drive it onto the freeway.
Here's a funny story about this video. So I have been with my wife for 10 years, and her father has been a truck driver for UPS, semi-truck driver for 30 years. He's about to retire.
Wow.
And when I first met him, I had heard about this technology coming out. It wasn't out yet. And I told him, he goes, no, it's not possible. It's just too hard. There's too many variables in driving the truck. And I said, well, in all fairness, computers can consider all of the variables simultaneously and never forget. Anyways, he was very like, no. And so each couple years at Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner, I would show him like the updates of what's been happening. And he just keeps saying, no. Then when I showed him this, he was like, yeah, but it's just lane keep, and you still have the docking and the hard parts, and then understanding what's going on with the tires and the cars around you. I said, dude, it's just the technology is so much more advanced than that. And he was very dismissive. And then when the first autonomous delivery, I think 2 or 3 years ago, the first autonomous, no human involved in the tractor trailer delivery was achieved, I showed him that and he goes, no, it's not possible. And so I thought it was fascinating to watch this person watch their job get automated out of existence. And even at the moment in which it could do it, he still says, no, that's not possible. And I'm like, I have a video of it happening right here. And so that's a fascinating part of human psychology, right?
Yeah, it's natural to not want to be replaced in something you've been doing for 30 years. You're the best in your field at that point. You've got tens and tens of thousands of hours doing it. And you know every in and out of every single aspect of that job, right? And then to say, oh, a robot's going to take that just sets off a chemical reaction in your brain that says, I reject that completely. No, that's a hard thing to take.
But there is some hope. There is some hope. I don't agree with it and like it very much. But one of the things that I actually think it hurts us internationally, competitively as a country. But one of the things that we do is in the shipping docks, when they're unloading shipping freight from other countries.
Yeah.
One of the things that has happened is the unions there and the industry there has prevented the automated loading and unloading technology from coming to our ports. It's why we get port backlog and backup. You saw it on the news a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
And so the unions actually prevent this technology from being implemented.
So that is a silver lining for truck drivers, and the possibility that whatever unions are in place and whatever infrastructure is already in place, that people will try and stop this. So
correct.
So if you are in the trucking industry, it's not an immediate red flag, because very similar industry, the ports and the crane industry, has avoided the automation. And so it's possible that same resistance will happen in the trucking industry. So that is a silver lining. But then there's the argument for autonomy, an autonomous system of truck driving, which is the drivers themselves. Like if it's an automated system, you don't have to have brakes. Like I think, what is it, like a 12-hour driving limit at a time, something like that. With an autonomous vehicle, you don't have that. That means quicker deliveries. So I guess there's both ways. People could be against it. People could be for it. And we'll just have to see how it pans out. So let's go back to the technology, though. The one big advancement in this technology has been Tesla. So Tesla has rolled out their fully electric semi-trucks, and Frito-Lay, Pepsi, those guys, they are using the Tesla semi-trucks to just do trucking runs.
There he comes. Look at that beautiful semi-truck.
That is gorgeous. I love the color.
I did see on C-SPAN that they were complaining about, like, you can't just replace all the trucks because of the amount of distance it can go versus recharging time versus what fuel can do. So there's probably going to be really narrow use cases where like intercity daily tractoring is going to be a really good use case for it probably, because they could charge at night and then just run their loads during the day, and they're only running 30, 40 minutes at a time.
All right, I want to see this guy
Here
rip
he
out of
comes.
there.
Here he comes.
Electric mode. That's so weird. That is
It's so quiet.
Strange. And he's just gone.
Yeah, it's just fast.
Look at that. He just went from like that's crazy.
Yep.
So Tesla has the hardware for sure. Like that's a semi truck. And they have the self-driving stuff that I've been in. I've seen it work. It's still in beta, but it's there. I've seen it work.
Yes.
Combine the two and you're done.
Yep. You're going to see electric semis on the road taking up portions, and it's not going to happen overnight, right? You'll see it probably intra-city deliveries. They'll start there. The UPSs and the Frito-Lays and Frito-Lay is Pepsi, I believe. But those companies will start adopting them slowly, just a little bit at a time. And so it'll look very similar to grocery cashier checking out, is I think the thing everyone's experienced. It started out as there was one machine. It was just like, oh, that's just the self-checkout machine. And still you got 12 lanes, right? Just one little machine in the corner. And then now there's 2 machines, and now there's 3 lanes of machines. And now at some stores, it's 80% machines. And that happened over 4 or 5, 6, 7 years. So you see the technology, and then you watch it come out slowly and surely. It's an interesting way to watch it roll out, but that's how we're going to watch it roll out here for truck drivers. And so I think for them to stay at their top 1%, you don't have to learn programming. Screw those Silicon Valley bros that are like, you got to learn programming. You don't have to learn programming. If you're going to look at, let's say 20% of the workforce in the next 3 years is going to go away as far as like body count inside of truck driving. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's still 70%. So you just have to have a good attitude. You just have to be good at your job.
So on a scale of 1 Tamagotchi to 10 Terminator, we're looking at around 3 to 5 years to get up to that 20% automation, give or take. And it's not like it's going to be just overnight all automation. Right. It's going to take time. Currently, would you say about a 5 or a 6 for the trucking industry, or maybe even a 4?
In terms of...
like on a scale of Tamagotchi to Terminator.
Okay. If you're early in your career, if you just got your trucking license, you should be at a 10 in the sense of urgency to compete with the technology. You should actively be fine. This is not you wake up night. If you're brand new trucker, you got a 20-year career ahead of you, and you think that you're just going to wake up and keep trucking for the next 20 years, that's probably not going to be the case. It's probably going to be the case that if you're brand new, you need to watch this technology regularly, and you need to be the best you can. Do the personal development, right? Like watch personal development, but like become the best version of yourself, because you don't have to beat out everybody. You just have to beat out most of the people. The truckers with a bad attitude. The truckers, and then just watch it. Just be present as if you were in that grocery store watching those lanes disappear, and then pay attention to what the brands are doing, right? There are definitely going to be brands emerging that will say, we're a trucking company, we're humans only. We're humans only. And then the human only brands are going to do business with the human only brands, right? And then they're going to go out of business because the robots win.
What about seasoned professionals? People have been doing this for the past 10, 20 years.
Yeah, I think if you're later in your career, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Yeah, just pay attention. Obviously, it depends. Like if you got 2 or 3 years left, you're probably going to be fine. If you've got 10 years left, pay some attention to what's going on. And if you have 20 years left, you need to wake up every day with urgency to make sure that you are still going to have a job in 20 or 30 years. I'm not saying anything I disagree with. My name's on the channel. It's called The Joel Beasley Show. Oh gosh, child labor. This is interesting. Does anyone talking about the article?